This is the 91st minute. All right. Also, this week we had transfer deadline day, the most exciting day on the football calendar. Yawn.
If you work for Sky Sports.
Yeah, if you work for Sky Sports. So there was a period of time in European football where I don't know. I feel like moves may have been done. Like now, it's teams are trying to secure their big signings early, right? So a lot of it is already done. I feel like the days of superstar signings on deadline day might be numbered. And we see this in other sports too. I don't know if any of you watch like NHL trade deadline, for example. Sometimes it's really not very good, and they are trying to make it be the most exciting thing on television. And it is what it is. So I've got a number of deals. We can discuss as much as you want or as little as you want. But I noted down some of the sort of more prominent ones and ones that I thought were kind of interesting. We won't have every transfer that happened. Obviously, we don't have all night, and we aren't Sky Sports, so we don't need to. Ryan Gravenberch, obviously Munich to Liverpool. There may be a couple that went through a day or two before. I think that's another great signing by Liverpool.
Yeah, really good, really annoying.
Yeah.
So it's another one that we were linked with that we could have got done early on in the window.
I blame Cartwheel, and here's why. Okay. Last year, Cartwheel mocked Liverpool's midfield so much they went out and said, "Well, we're going to buy them all then, apart from Bellingham."
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm not even. This is like third-hand trolling right now. We're time traveling, and then I'm not even saying anything. It's like, when did I say this? I never said this.
Right. I have a question for Liverpool fans that are in the chat, though, and for you guys as well to answer it. With the amount of money that Liverpool have spent on central midfielders, would they not have been better just signing Jude Bellingham for 90 million?
Oh, I don't think
because
Jude.
I mean, Jude's great, right? But they've strengthened 3 positions instead of 1. I think.
Yeah, but
I think they've
the
done.
The reason they didn't put a concrete offer in for Jude is because they didn't have the money, and it turns out, well, they did. I guess it's funded by Henderson moving to Saudi Arabia and all of that, but yeah, at the time they didn't have the money. But yeah,
I don't know if you can turn down Madrid if you're Jude. You know?
I agree.
It's a big move.
But a good signing for Liverpool. I think a very
great
good
signing. And the thing is that Bayern, they're playing with a pretty double pivot, and at Liverpool they're playing with single pivot. And you know, Gravenberch can play more of an 8 as well as 6 rather than a straight, more defensive 8, you know, whatever you want to call it. So I think it'll be interesting to see where he fits in. I imagine he will probably play more at the 6, maybe like a second coming of Wijnaldum or something, you know, like
yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think he's the Wijnaldum-like player.
Yeah. Next up, I got Kolo Muani, linked with Man United before the Højlund deal, obviously. Eintracht Frankfurt to PSG for 77 million. Obviously, he's an exciting young player. Goes to a team in Paris. I mean, it's probably a dream for him, right? As a young French kid. And they're in need of somebody that can replace Mbappe, who probably will be gone next. Who knows when? I mean, he should have been gone already. But anyway, yeah, Kolo Muani to PSG. Any thoughts on that, Hoff? What do you think?
I like that. It seems, just in general, it seems like PSG are doing having more of a team building window instead of grab the shiniest objects from every league window. It helps that Neymar and Messi are gone as well. So they're, but yeah, I think that's a good signing for them. I know Frankfurt will be missing him for sure. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot for PSG.
I like it a lot as well. PSG are gonna play. They have so many, like just like Hoff was saying, Luis Enrique has a team, right? He has a team, with roles now, and that's the biggest difference. Last year I watched PSG play, to use eFootball terms, 3 counter targets: Neymar, Mbappe, Messi walking around at the top of the pitch. Everyone's doing defending, heave it up to them, and then they create chances, and it worked. But now you're going to see a much more cohesive unit, I think. Cultured, I don't know.
I think it's a good signing. Obviously, a good signing. I always have, and it's a bit. I'm sure we'll touch on Amrabat later, but it's a bit. Well, I'm a bit nervous of the Amrabat deal. Is I don't like players going on strike and say I'm not training unless I move, which is what Kouani did to move there. He said to Frankfurt, "That's it. I'm not training for 2 weeks unless you sell me to PSG." But it's a good signing. I agree with everything you've said. PSG have changed their tact of what they're doing for team building, and they've gone under the radar by signing a lot of younger players. So they're trying to set themselves up for the future as well, I think. So not as many as Chelsea, but they've signed a lot of young players. So
yeah. Next up on my list, I got Ansu Fati. I think this was in the hours before deadline day, actually. But Ansu Fati, Barcelona to Brighton, on loan. Not a move I saw coming. Pretty crazy. I mean, obviously the emergence of this kid that Cartwheel was telling us about last week. I forget his name. Yamal. Something.
Lamine Yamal.
Lamine. Yeah, you mean Lamar. Like, obviously that's probably got something to do with it. But yeah, man, what a unique. I just never saw that coming, and I understand, and maybe Barca fans can tell us. I understand he's not been quite the same since an injury. Yeah, what do you guys make of that one?
I think. Okay, go ahead, Coach.
He sustained an injury which apparently lost his explosiveness. I think it was how it was described out of Barcelona. He lost that explosiveness and the ability to turn as quick as he did, like on a dime, I think is what the phrase would be in America. But it's still a very good signing, and if you think he's rotated into the team and integrated as a substitute for either Matoma or Solly March, it gives Brighton really good options on those places now. Could potentially line up behind the striker, rotating with João Pedro. Could potentially play out front as a false nine or drifting wide striker. My opinion is I think he's going to be rotated more with Solly March. I think that's why that March is more of a ball player, more of a wide playmaker. I think Solly March. I don't think he's necessarily a speed bursty, take your man on and beat players for Brighton. And I think Ansu Fati brings them a different option on the right. So yeah, I'm intrigued. Cart, go on.
I agree with all of that. And on the topic of Brighton, it'd be interesting to see how they develop. Right, De Zerbi's probably, out of the best manager, I'd say. Not at a top team, traditionally top team. And it'll be interesting to see how Brighton do this summer or this year, and how if De Zerbi's able to get something out of Ansu Fati, if that'll just add to his kind of CV almost, because I don't know, I might prefer De Zerbi at Barca over Xavi. Who knows? I mean, he plays a very attractive brand of football. And, this could be, a lot of Barca eyes will be on Brighton games now. I agree with everything Culture said, but there's just something else to throw in on there.
Just before, sorry, Hoff, just while we're talking about De Zerbi, one of my more outlandish predictions for the year is that Eddie Howe gets sacked and Newcastle just throw money at Brighton for De Zerbi. Just pay him out of his contract and Newcastle take De Zerbi. That's what I think might happen. I said it's outlandish.
That's tricky. I could see how getting fired.
You could see it happening.
I don't know about. Maybe.
Yeah. Next up, I got Leonardo Bonucci, Juventus to Union. I'll just say it like Union Berlin. I'm going to say it really English now. Union Berlin. Off. Give us the lowdown on that move.
Oh, I love it. Just some European experience. I think it was, if they weren't in the Champions League, he's not even interested in going there, I'm sure. But Union have made some great moves overall. They got Brendan Aronson on loan. Or Union, sorry. But they brought in Robin Gosens as well, which is another transfer with the Champions League in mind, and Kevin Volland. So two German internationals coming back to play in the Champions League with Union. But Bonucci, he's fallen off. I don't know how much he's going to play, but what his experience that he brings, it kind of reminds me of what I said about Perisic last season for Spurs, which ended up not being true at all. But I feel this is more true, that he's a locker room signing. I don't even know. I know he's in the northern part, in Turin in Italy. I don't know what his German speaking skills are like. Yeah, so I don't know that dynamic of the locker room, but I feel like his experience will be big for them in hopes of getting out of the group in the Champions League.
What was the fee?
Yeah.
What was the cost?
He was a free, I believe.
Is it free?
Yeah, I think it was a freebie. Yeah.
Wow.
Just with time constraints, I'm going to keep it moving. Lenglet, Barcelona to Villa on loan. I know Barca fans, or some Barca fans, were desperate for him to go. So, be happy with that. Any thoughts on that one?
It's a weird one. I don't know. Was there an injury? I know Diego Carlos got injured this weekend.
Oh, Tyrone Mings is out for the whole season.
Yeah,
First game
that's
of the
what it
year.
was.
First
So-
game of the season, yeah.
Yeah, so they I think they were looking for some cover there, and
Yeah.
this is after Pau Torres as well. So yeah, I don't know a whole lot. I'm not a huge Longley fan personally, but maybe with the ball playing style of Unai Emery, he'll fit in nicely.
Then
If
a
you-
double. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. I was going to say, if you need him to just sit back, make passes, he can do that very well. If you need him to chase down guys that have gotten past him, sorry, that's not it. But he's a very good ball player as a center back, but defensively, no thank you.
Yeah. Barcelona, speaking of them, double capture. Yao Felix on loan. I don't know if you saw this. Like the day before, he was like, I love Barca. I've always loved Barca. And then he signs for them the next day. I thought that was weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was reduced
just
to
weird.
tears as well in his
At his unveiling.
unveiling.
Yeah. And then they also picked up Cancelo from Man City, obviously. I think that
Played a
deal was
little bit
finalized.
last weekend, I think, just a little bit.
Oh, he did. Okay, so I'm behind on. Well, I'm not behind on that one. It was on my list, so
No, it was a last minute signing. It was.
gotcha. Yeah,
Cancelo's a good signing. It's just attitude, right? That's what Pep said.
potentially, yeah.
It was just attitude.
Yeah. Controversial one. Mason Greenwood goes to Getafe on loan. I don't know what you guys make of that. We obviously did a full segment on Mason Greenwood and what's next for him, which you can see on YouTube if you want to have a look. But yeah, that's what's next for him. Getafe.
They're the shithouses
Yeah.
of La Liga, and this is a very shithousey move. So it kind of
Yeah.
makes sense. I didn't see this type of move for him, but
Yeah.
I honestly didn't
Yeah,
see
I-
any move for him.
I didn't see a La Liga move, definitely not.
Yeah.
Just to nick a quote that I saw off Twitter, he's obviously heard Getafe me Greenwood a lot, so
Oh,
didn't cut that. No, loan move, annoying. But I just want him out of my club. I want him out of my club. Getafe have put their foot in it as well already by saying that he was innocent and proven innocent, which he wasn't. So, yeah.
you got to say certain things if you sign up.
Yeah.
Next up was the Amrabat move from Fiorentina to Man United on loan. You kind of touched upon it earlier, but yeah, you guys happy with that signing? Going to add some depth, or is he going to be a starter?
Similar to Gravenberch, he can play the 6 or the 8. He's a top percentile progressive passer. He's got a couple of flaws in his game. He can get out of position sometimes. I watched the Pythagoras video. I don't know if you guys know Pythagoras on YouTube. Really nice videos. He's very good, passer of the ball, progressive passer, and that's what United really need. And obviously he's younger and more mobile. He'll give Casemiro some rest. He'll give Eriksen some rest. It's nice. Famously chased down Mbappe in the World Cup. He's
Gotcha.
I think to answer your question, Milo, I think in a game like Arsenal, something like that, he starts alongside Casemiro. In a game where we're expected to dominate possession, he comes off the bench. Eriksen starts. So
Gotcha. Speaking of Arsenal, couple of moves involving them. No incomings. Obviously, got our business done early. I would like to have seen one or two more, maybe, but it is what it is. Rob Holding to Crystal Palace. Decent move for him. Stays in the Premier League. Hope he gets some minutes there. I got nothing against Holding. He just hasn't been it.
that's a bargain for Palace, by the way. An absolute 1 million plus 3 million on add-ons. That's an absolute bargain for Rob Holding.
It is, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, we all know his limitations, I think, at this point. It's just, I'm sad a little bit because when we got him, we signed him and Chambers very quickly together. And I was like, the future of the English defense centre-backs are going to be in our team. I was so pumped. Like the two most highly touted, at the time, they were the two most highly touted English centre-backs. And like, we got them both. And I was like, it's going to be the new Adams and Keown without the alcohol. But anyway, and also Sambi Lokonga, Arsenal to Luton on loan, which I like that because Sambi has a shit ton of potential. I'm not opposed to him coming back and doing something for us because he has potential. I hope that he plays well at Luton. I hope that he can realize some of that potential. Any thoughts on the Arsenal deals there? No, maybe.
I think Lokonga, I just don't see him. I agree. I think he has a lot of potential. I don't see him fulfilling that potential in the Premier League. Yeah. I think you sell him for a bit of profit to Spain or Italy or something like that. Yeah,
that's fair. I had a couple more written down. Oh, Nuno Tavares as well, Arsenal to Forest on loan. He is thought quite highly of, but again, he had a terrible first half of season with us. I don't know if you remember, he made some horrendous errors, but he's very, very highly thought of in football by a lot of managers. So, yeah, one to keep an eye on. Bayindir, Fenerbahce to Man United. It's a backup goalkeeper, I understand.
First Turkish player.
Yeah, 4.3 mil backup keeper, obviously.
That's a good price for him. He's a good goalkeeper. I don't know what the plans are for playing wise. But I think he's good. I don't think he'll replace Onana anytime soon. But if he gets cup games or something, I don't think you'll be disappointed with him.
One quick thing.
Go on. Sorry,
Nuno Tavares out, Tierney out. Arsenal don't have any out and out fullbacks now, right? That's it. No more at the club. Is Cedric there? No,
probably.
Oh, okay.
He's probably there.
I'm just saying it's just interesting that they've gone all out, no more fullbacks at Arsenal, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's right. But with the versatility of, they've gone for versatile players instead. Yeah. Tomiyasu, White, Zinchenko, yeah, for sure. And Timber, obviously. But we know he's missing. I had two more to talk about. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Chelsea to Nottingham Forest for 5 mil. So Forest continue to try to find players that can help them in the Premier League. And then Cole Palmer, Man City to Chelsea for 40 mil. Like, did we know anything about Cole Palmer before he scored that goal against Arsenal in the Charity Shield?
No.
I feel like that was a £40 million goal.
I like him. I think there's a player obviously in there. I don't know, 40 million for a youngster, like, I think it's a little high. Obviously it's Chelsea, so we're kind of laughing a little bit more, but I think that's just what happens when your team wins a treble. All your players just get a little boost in value. Like Trafford, the goalkeeper, they sold him for what, 15, 17 or something. And Cole Palmer is another one who did play he played a couple games last season. Yeah. He wasn't just solely on the bench. Like, I wonder how much they could get for Rico Lewis at this point. They could probably get easy 50 million for him or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Cole Palmer's going to be one of those ones where you look back at it and it's an absolute steal at 40 million, or he just goes to nothing. I don't think I don't think there's a middle point. I think it's either a complete flop of a transfer, or he's going to be arguably similar to Foden, right? Given a bit of time and then just burst on the scene and will be brilliant. But it's tough to say. He's been very good for under-21s, the English under-21s, Cole Palmer. Very, very good for them. So Chelsea may have got a good transfer. I don't want to say bargain because no one knows. So.
Chelsea apparently have a rule they don't sign anyone over 24 as well. I don't know if you guys heard. And that's why they didn't sign James Maddison. Yeah, that's why they didn't sign James Maddison, by the way. Yeah, interesting.
That is interesting. All right, and that's it. That's all I've got. And there's a ton more other deals, but those were the ones that kind of stood out, something we could talk about. So, yeah, that was deadline day.
Hey there, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider subscribing to the 91st Minute here on YouTube. Also, feel free to use the links in the description to follow us on all social media platforms.